people? What's poppin'? Hopefully everyone had a cute and lovely Valentine's Day. Valentinia. But yeah, I don't know what Valentinia is, but yeah, what's it called? I went out to Dallas, Texas. It was a very boring city. It's a very boring city. And not saying it was a bad city. I could see myself living there if I get a little bit older, but it didn't seem like there was a lot to do out there. I'm going to try to go to Houston or Austin. I think San Antonio is going to be a lot like Dallas if I go there. I don't know why. It just seems like that way. But doesn't fucking matter. Let's see. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Texas was a pretty cool state. A lot of highways. I thought Atlanta had a lot of highways, but no, Texas really got us. I mean, just Dallas alone had us beat. That shit was crazy. But regardless, pretty cool city. Very nice weather too. Really nice weather for February. But yeah, hopefully everyone got their loving in, their cuddles in. Everyone feels loved and happy. So we can get back into some fucking devastating news. So y'all probably already heard, Ohio had not an oil spill. What's that drink called? Let me look at this. A train spill. You know what I'm saying? The train spilt over and shit and then put a bunch of shit in the water. Well, there's a thing. They said that it's like a substance that makes plastic, most of the plastic that we use. So where the fuck is this train at? Where the damn is train at? Okay, here we go. Ohio officials said that toxic chemicals released after the train crash on the outskirts of East Palestine have entered the Ohio River. Contaminants from derailed cars were toxic to fish, but officials say drinking water has remained protected. Yeah, bro, the government really don't be giving a fuck about. And that's the craziest thing. I was thinking this. I was like, who? Because the government ain't like just a one person making this. It's like multiple people making these things. And it's like, so none of y'all have like family in Ohio that's probably like, you need to get the fuck up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Because they're saying all this shit like, they know that animals are dying, people's pets are dying, because pretty much what happened was the train got derailed, right? They needed, and since it got derailed, this chemical was leaking into the air because it's like at a certain temperature, it's a liquid, but like if you expose it to air, like expose it to just regular, outside temperatures, it boils and then turns into a gas. Same as like oxygen. Oxygen has to be really cold, or nitrogen or something like that has to be really cold. And then when you expose it to air, it turns into a gas. You'll see that if you get like nitrogen, like margaritas or whatever, or nitrogen fucking food made and shit at like some fusion bar or whatever. So same concept. It was leaking out, turning to gas, going into the air. So they were like, okay, this thing has a possibility of blowing up and, releasing into the air. And it's going to go into the air anyways. I wonder why they didn't just say like, hey, let's try to seal it up. Because, I guess you couldn't. I don't know. I don't know how you do that. Yeah, there had to have been a way. Like they could have put down like some fucking glue or something. I don't know. But instead of sealing it up, instead of doing any of that other shit, they were like, we're just going to burn all of it. And so Ohio officials and I guess the federal government were like, we're just going to burn it all. And they burned it. And now, the official, not talking points on it, like the official whatever thing that comes out is like, okay, it's a success. We burned it all. It's not going to affect really too much of anything. It's going to be good. Yeah, some animals are going to die and shit, but we've already evacuated people that are like close in, so they should be good to go. But people are saying like, no, there's an extremely toxic chemical. And if you look, there's actually a really good map out there. Let's see if I can find it. There's a really good map out there here. It doesn't really show where you can find the map, but it's a map showing how all these rivers are connected, right? So this thing was blown up in Ohio, and Ohio essentially connects to like a bunch of major rivers. So the Mississippi River runs all the way up from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up into Michigan, right? So there's a bunch of branching rivers that come off of that. So we have like the Ohio River Basin, Upper Mississippi River Basin, Missouri River Basin, and Arkansas Red River Basin. That's a stupid ass name. And then Lower Mississippi River Basin. So, and if you look at it, it pretty much runs from Louisiana over to Tennessee, all the way up to northern, P state? Pennsylvania. Okay. And then it goes all the way back up to Michigan, like upper Michigan, and then all the way over to about Midwest Montana, and then all the way back down to, man, y'all probably cannot visualize this. I'm surprised I even know this many fucking states. But then it goes all the way down to, fuck is that state? The one with Las Vegas, New Mexico, whatever. I don't know where Las Vegas is, but it goes down to New Mexico, then into Texas, and then back down to Louisiana, where the Mississippi River starts. Which I don't know why it's called Mississippi River. It's in Louisiana, but whatever. But yeah, so it's just infected this entire thing. And the crazy thing is that, like, you know, these chemicals are killing animals, killing the fish in the fucking water and everything like that. But the government's still saying, like, the drinking water from these rivers are still good. And it's like, that's weird. That shouldn't be right. And, you know, obviously animals are dying and shit. And they're dying from miles away from the crash. And there's still people, like, they told the people, like, within a certain area to leave. But still, this huge plume of black smoke is going miles out. You know what I mean? Because they're burning the stuff and it's going to the, you know, and the particulates are going to the air and just spreading out like for miles and miles. And a lot of those people didn't get evacuated, you know, so they're, you know, 5 miles from the thing being like, what the fuck is going on here? There's even I saw the Joe Rogan podcast. There was a dude that was recording it saying like, hey, bro, like, well, he didn't say that. He was definitely more country about it, but just saying like, hey, this isn't right. And it shows like the sky just getting blacked out from all this smoke. But yeah, and the government just doesn't seem to really be saying anything about it. They actually arrested and I need to look a little bit deeper into this because it doesn't seem right, because I can't imagine that they're like, we're going to let this shit move. Well, that's the thing. They let the Uvalde Valley shit go on and they haven't done nothing with those police officers. So I can only assume that they're going to try to get people to cover the shit up and just not care. Like the government's really trying to like turn into like some weird communist shit. I'm not going to say communist because we still get to elect our officials, kinda. Like, we get to choose between the two people that the sides want us to choose, but I don't think Joe Biden's really making that many decisions on a daily basis that it makes that he has, like, all that power. He just seems kind of like a show pony. But, what the fuck was I talking about? But, yeah, they said that they were arresting a journalist that was trying to, like, kind of put out the story. And, it, you know, they have video of him being arrested, thrown to the ground by police officers. But they said it was during a, like, I don't know what it's called, like a village speak, like where everyone comes to the town and talks about, you know, what all is happening and everything like that. But, you know, I don't know if he'll do an outburst because sometimes, you know, like news just wants the crazy shit to happen. So it could just be like, hey, this guy was literally just screaming out, being like, y'all are fucking da 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 da. And then they're like, okay, you can't just be, you know, fucking up the peace in this courtroom. And then they arrested him. I'm not exactly sure. I had to look into it. But if it is just him asking questions and trying to put the news out there and then they're, you know, trying to silence him, that's no good. Because I try to went a little bit faster than I should have, but because a lot of people were saying like, because they had shot down 4 like UFO objects, unidentified objects that they said aren't balloons. So let me see where them hoes is at. That weren't balloons, right? So where them hoes at? Damn, son. This is crazy. This is really crazy. Here we go. Okay, yeah, so one was shot over Lake Huron. Okay, y'all, hold on. Here, fuck it, I don't know. I don't know where they were, but one was in Alaska, one was over Lake Huron. There was 4 in total, and they were like, we don't know what the fuck these things are, apparently. But I'm like, it's been a few days now. Like, you should be able to tell us what's going on here, but they're probably just going to keep us in the dark. Doesn't really matter. Either way, though, people were saying that they were coming out with these fake stories in order to try to cover up, because, you know, UFOs are probably going to be a lot bigger of a thing than some trains, right? So they were saying that they were just using these UFO things to cover up what was actually going on in that place. But I don't know how true that is. I could see that happening, but I mean, now this whole train incident is so huge, like people aren't just going to be like, that's big news now, so people are going to try to cover it. But yeah, I mean, I am interested in these UFO things because they said that they were moving in a way that isn't known, is not a known propulsion at this point in time. So it would definitely be interesting, but it would be nice to do if they did it. Damn. Yeah, and then China's saying, I don't know, there's so much shit going on this week, actually. This whole Dallas trip, I wish, not mine was there, but, yeah, there's a lot of shit going on. But they were saying, like, they didn't know what kind of propulsion system they were using, so kind of alluding to that they're going to be actual aliens instead of UFOs. But I'm like, if we shooting them down like this, like, come on now, like, we really bodying some aliens, but I don't think that they are aliens. It's probably just some Russian shit again. Or some Chinese shit. But yeah, and here we have China accuses the U.S. of sending 10 plus spy balloons into their airspace. So it says China claimed today that the United States flew spy balloons into Chinese airspace more than 10 times since January 2022 without Beijing's permission. The accusations that further rattled up tensions between the two countries amid mutual allegations of surveillance. Maybe. I don't know. I just think the USA has a little bit better than just some fucking balloons. I'm like, we got the whole international space. Well, it says international, so I guess we ain't the only ones that can use it. But like, can't we just zoom in on some shit? I don't know. I feel like you could just have a plane that flies super high and then it just zooms in on some shit. Or like a missile that just, shoots it over a thing so high that you can't see it and that radars can't pick it up. It takes fucking high whatever fuck pictures, sends it back and then crashes in the middle of the ocean and just floats to the bottom and no one knows where it is. That's what I think. I don't think we need to use balloons. I don't even how the fuck do you steer a balloon? And if y'all don't know, these balloons are huge. They're like, what's it called? 200 feet tall. So like, it's a pretty fucking sizable balloon. So I'm like, you're going to be able to see a balloon versus like a fucking missile that's damn near in outer space. Cause those international ballistic missiles or whatever can go dumb high. So it's like, why the fuck would I use a floating balloon that's big as fuck that I can see? Makes no sense. Trying to be sneaky and shit. Got a big ass balloon in the air. Let's see. They derailed a train carrying perhaps. Oh, that's the same shit. Okay. We're going to go on to the next topic. Okay. So this is something that I'm going to make a short on earlier or tomorrow, or I'm going to make it today, release it tomorrow, whatever. But, it says 4 Ohio State players, Amir Reep and Jason Wint, found not guilty of rape and kidnapping charges nearly 3 years after they arrested following alleged rape in February 2020. So this shit is crazy to me because I just don't understand, because if you press charge on somebody and it turns out that you did false allegations, like what happens to you? You just kind of just chill, or can they sue you for hey, you fucked me? Because 3 years, lawyer fees for 3 years is going to be crazy, and they don't give you no money back. You're just not charged with anything. So do you go back to court and try to get some shit back? Because if you don't have another 2 years of litigation and trying to get this person for a false allegation, and I'm saying false allegation because, sometimes people can misconstrue rape as hey, I was having sex with her and in the middle she didn't like it. But no, what happened was these Ohio players were told by the team, hey, don't fucking make sure you get consent on video before you have sex with these girls because they're grimy as fuck, apparently. So, and that's the thing. It's fucked up because the girl even said, why are you doing this? And they said, we're doing it for us, not because of you. We're just doing it to protect ourselves. And she's on video saying I consent to having sex. And then these 2 boys fuck her. And then she goes to her. And I don't know how it gets out, but then after a while, she has second thoughts about it because she's feeling like a hoe and used and shit because they probably didn't call her back. She thought she'd be cool. She fucked 2 football players. I don't get that mindset. I mean, again, maybe it's some girl shit because I do think girls and guys do have totally different mindsets because I was thinking the other day, I was okay, so a girl might go on a trip, right? She might go on a trip for let's say 3 days. She'll bring 4 brand new outfits. She'll spend a week buying new outfits, new shoes, a whole new wardrobe or whatever. And she's only gonna be gone for 3 days, but she'll bring 5 fucking outfits, right? So you got 5 outfits because they just don't know when they might want to change in them. I don't fucking know. They might be hey, I just don't know what I want to wear, or I might want to wear this that day or this the next day. So I just want to bring a bunch of outfits and shit, whatever the fuck it is, right? And got to have a bunch of different shoes and shit, whatever the fuck, right? But then when they get to wherever they're going, they're going to see more shit that they want and still try to buy. And it's don't you have enough? Are you good? Because your wardrobe is packed. You have shit that you haven't even worn. That's a crazy mindset to me. where you got shit you haven't even worn and you still buying more shit. Like, cause I know, like, my mom will clean out her closet and she'll be like, "Oh, I forgot I bought these shoes." I'm like, "How do you have too many shoes if that's the case? You got too many shoes." Or someone looks and they're like, "Oh my God, there's some nice, like, fucking boots or trainers or, what's it called? Heels." And it's like, you already got black heels. It's in a slightly different style. You don't need more shit. But I'm thinking, like, I'm not saying dudes don't do this too. There's probably guys that also do this, but I think the majority, because like if you go into any given store, they're going to have majority women shit. You know what I'm saying? And then the guys, section is going to be all the way in the back, covered with like webs and spiders and shit and roaches in there. And there's probably someone dealing out crack and shit, because dudes don't buy that much shit. But I really do think it's like the women's, because back in the day, women used to be hunter gatherers, right? So that hunter gatherer mindset might be, because, I feel like also women, they say women kill more based off of financial gain. They don't kill because they hate the person. Like, they usually kill because they can get money out of it. And I think that's like, I listen to a good amount of true crime dramas or whatever. And the majority of those women kill for money. They don't kill just to do it. Not saying that there aren't women that do kill just to do it or kill because they're mad, but usually it's because they know they're going to get financial gain. But I honestly think it's that instinct of like, hey, I need to get a lot of shit just in case whatever the fuck happens. I don't know, the hunter-gatherer shit. So even though you have a bunch of shit, you just want more and just keep hoarding it. And that's why I feel like women, when they're dating, like, because they say men, we don't give a fuck if you're like, the CEO of a company versus working at Target. If you look good and we like you, it's over with. Like, we'll be with you. But with women, it's a much higher level of like, hey, how much do you make? Like, what do you do for a living? Like, that shit matters, because they're like, I need to get shit. If you don't make nothing, I can't get shit. Or they're just trying to hoard resources, where they're like, hey, I need someone that makes a good amount of money so that I know I can get a nicer house than if I were to buy one with someone with my same income level. I need more than that. You know what I'm saying? That's why most younger women date older guys, because the older guy's probably a little bit more established in life and is probably making more money. So no matter what, even though she's making, good money, he's still making a little bit more than her. So she's like, hey, that's a good payoff because I'm getting more for nothing. It seems like, I don't know, like putting my pussy out there. I have no clue. But, but yeah, so it's just an interesting thought. And, that might be the same way why men don't like to, because I know plenty of dudes don't like to hear about their women's past. I'm like, I don't want to think that you've been fucking and sucking on other guys. That's crazy. And most dudes will agree with me. And then girls just be like, no, you're self-conscious or whatever. It's like, no, I just don't want to hear about that shit. And it might be to the fact of like, back in the day, there was really no way to know if the kid that she had was yours, that you had with your wife was actually your kid. So it's like, I don't even want to think you've been with anyone else. I'd rather you just think like, hey, this girl hasn't had a past or a history or whatever, and just rock with that. So I don't even have to think like, hey, if I have a kid with this person, it may not be my kid or some shit. You know what I mean? But, these are just theories. I have no fucking clue if they're real or not. Just saying. And I'm going to give you one last little theory. So I was listening to a podcast, and they were saying that, back in the day when villages would be taken over, or like kingdoms would be taken over, all the, like, whoever won, the men would be instantly killed, because they're like, we don't need no grown men around here trying to fuck us up. They probably kill like the older folks and everything, but they will keep the kids and they keep the women. And so with the women, usually they're going to be younger, on the younger side, and their husbands could have been killed in that whole like debacle. So then when they get taken to the enemy side, the enemies could give them like, hey, you can either be like a slave or you can marry one of the enemy, soldiers or whatever, or like, the enemy fucking peasants. I don't fucking know. And so a lot of those women, instead of being slaves, because that would suck, they're like, hey, I'd rather just be like a peasant or like marry a soldier and live a good life for the rest of my life. And then they just go and do that. And so the women that did do that obviously procreated, had more children that had that same, brain makeup or mindset and everything like that. Because, I feel like most of the time kids are kind of like their parents. And if you're raised by someone whose husband was slaughtered by a nation, that now you're fucking that guy from that nation because they took you in, that's going to change your mindset. So I'm not sure how true it is, but it makes sense. And then the ones that didn't want to switch over because maybe they really love their husbands or they're like, man, fuck the ops type of shit. Then they was like, oh, okay, let's not, I'm not going to procreate no more. And then that was the end of their fucking lineage because like they didn't procreate. And it makes sense. Like people look at me and they're like, that doesn't make fucking sense. It's like, how does it not? Like, if you believe in like, hey, because that's the thing, like, if you think about it, most Christian kids are born by Christian, like, families. Most Islamic kids are born by Islamic families. It's because they believe in that. Like, a lot of what kids learn and believe in and take in is what the parents believe in and take in. So I don't see how the fuck that doesn't compute with some people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Whatever. Like if you have a family that doesn't eat cheese like that and doesn't like cheese, you're probably more prone to not liking cheese because they're not going to include it in the meals. They're not going to do shit like that, whatever. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. That was a quick little sidebar, whatever. But yeah, let's see what else. Oh yeah, the whole rape. Oh yeah, the whole rape thing. So I forgot where I left off on this. But yeah, so they recorded her saying that she consented, and then she went back on it saying like, hey, after, and that shouldn't be even legal, honestly. That shouldn't even be legal. It's like, hey, if you consent to it and you have sex, if you don't like it afterwards, you just don't like it. You weren't raped. You just don't like the fact that you had sex. Like you made a bad, because that's the thing. If you did anything like that, like if you went back and you were like, hey, bro, fuck, I got a DUI. I really regret getting it. I'm going to say that it raped me. That doesn't really match up, but it's like, you can't just go back and say like, oh, actually what they did to me was illegal. Like if you start a conversation with somebody and in the middle of the conversation, you're like, I wish I did. You can't just be like, assault. Like, no, you can't do like, it's not, if someone gives you food, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know any other part of human, like, what's it called? Human interaction where like you can initiate something, you can say you're cool with, not even initiate, you can say you're cool with doing something, and then in the middle you can be like, because that's the thing, you can stop it. You can say like, hey, I started a conversation with you, I realize you're a bag of shit, I don't want to talk to you no more, and leave and dip out, right? But you can't then be like, yo, you're assaulting me, you're physically assaulted. It's like, no, we were having a cordial conversation that you wanted to be in. Now you change your mind. You can just leave. You don't need to claim like I'm doing anything bad to you. You would have to have the conversation. Everything went fine with it. You go home and you're like, I wish I didn't have that conversation. I'm going to say he verbally assaulted me. You know what I mean? Or, hey, I'm going to go over there, pay for food, eat it, go back home, be like, I didn't want to eat that food. And then call them up and be like, you forced that food down my fucking mouth, you piece of shit. I'm going to sue you. It's like, that's not realistic. And that's the thing. If you have a video recording of this girl saying that she consented, I don't see how that even holds up in court, that it's going to take 3 years. After the number one, the girl is bold as fuck for even doing that. It took them 3 years. It's just ridiculous. It's so crazy. And I don't know why the fuck this even stood in court. It should have been like, oh, okay, you have a video, and then you show the judge the video, and then like, you're done. Like, lady, get the fuck out of here. Stop. And then you get it. And you know what? She should get a fucking demerit mark on her goddamn, like, her personal, whatever it's called. Her, I don't know what it's called. Or like report shit. Like, the police pull up your report. Damn, I'm fucking this all the way up. Please pull up your report. You get a motherfucking demerit, girl, because you went over here, told two folks that they raped you. You were on video saying that you consented to doing it. What are you talking about? Get out of here. Don't do that shit again. Because there are some girls out there that have like 5 like rape allegations. You know what I mean? And it's like, at a certain point, are you just fucking these dudes and then just claiming that they raped you? Like, because people are sick, bro. People will get off on some shit like that. So I don't know. It's just sad to me. It's just really sad. But either way, the 2 guys got off, even though it took them 3 years. But you know what? The worst part is that like, this is probably gonna follow them around for a good amount of time, because like anytime an employer pulls up their thing, they're gonna say rape allegations. What the fuck? And even though they were, found not guilty, people will still probably deny them a job, because, if you have a job where you're like the face of something, like if you're a technician or whatever, and then you go out to like the job field and they're like, hey, what's your name? Hey, I'm Mark Reed or whatever his name was. and they look you up or whatever, and they're like, oh wow, this company hires rapists or, alleged rapists. They could go back to the company and be like, we don't want to do work with you. And then that looks bad, because they could be like, this company hires rapists or alleged rapists, not even alleged. They're not rapists. I'm sorry, they're not rapists. But they could look bad that they even have someone on their payroll that may have done something like that. And then that reflects bad on the company. And then that gets them out of a job because the company's like, people don't want to work with us because of what happened to you in the past. And that's fucked up, right? Like, I feel like you should have everything stripped away. Like, that girl needs to do the sentence for what the fuck she was trying to do to these guys. It doesn't make any sense that these dudes were going to get 33 years in prison each, and she just gets away scot-free for fucking lying. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. You can't go up there, I consent to doing this, come back later, they raped me, I want them to go to prison for it. And it's like, bro, like, you gotta be out of your mind. And I don't know how to fuck, like, because your family, well, that's the thing, her dad, and that's the thing, her dad was probably just racist. I don't know how the fuck Ohio was, but apparently she spoke to her dad about it, and he was like, yup, my baby girl could have did nothing wrong. My baby girl don't get trains ran on her. Apparently she motherfucking does, nigga, because she consented to doing that shit. So this ain't her first fucking rodeo go around bit. But yeah, that shit's sad as hell. She should get 33 years in prison. And then also, anytime that they get fired due to like an employer, she has to pay that shit out of pocket. And fuck her goddamn dad, that racist piece of shit. But yeah, either way, everyone, don't be claiming rape unless it actually is. I don't condone rape at all. Obviously, it's a very bad act. Don't do it. But also, don't be out here changing your mind on bullshit. Make sure you know what you want to do before you do it, and live with your decisions, I guess. But other than that, have a good day, y'all. I got riled up. Have a good day, y'all. Love the people around you. You never know how much longer you have with them. And live by the golden rule. Do on others as you would like to be done on you. But other than that, don't take it easy. Peace.